Oh boy. Okay. It has been a hot minute since I've done one of these videos. I've posted anything on the channel, really. I haven't even been posting any updates because life has been crazy. But that's actually what we're going to talk about. I was thinking about it, and I realized that there was some nuance to it that, if presented in the right way, would actually help some of you guys, especially the younger people. I think some of the older gentlemen, older women, older voice actors probably know a lot of this just from life experience. This is more business advice rather than voiceover, technically. But there's a lot of young people just in general who don't know this and don't know why. And maybe, no matter how many times people say it, I think it's something that's very important and needs to be just drilled into people's heads. So here we go. One of the reasons that my life has been crazy has actually just been finances. It's just been crazy with finances. I got, apparently the IRS audited me and I owed them money. And then my car just broke down for no reason. And, I had to take it into a shop. Wasn't covered under the warranty. It didn't get into an accident or a wreck, so it wasn't covered by insurance. It just needs to be fixed. And then there's a debt collector from way, way back when that is trying to sue me for money, even though, I don't really have anything that they can take. They can't take the only expensive thing that I have is stuff that I use for voiceover, and that would be stripping me of my livelihood, and they can't do that. So they can either go through the people that I've assigned them to go through, or they don't get anything. The advice that I have, and a lot of this kind of hinges on one thing, and it was a huge mistake that I made early on in my life, early on in my career, and that was buying a lot of things through credit. A lot of it, a lot of this I've already kind of sort of technically paid off, but there's still a lot of things that I just got into debt to, to purchase stuff so that I could move forward, whether it was cameras, whether it was for microphone stuff, whether it was screens, whether it was what have you. There was a lot of stuff that I just, some of it was also funding some projects that I should not have done through credit. And all this was years ago. I don't have a credit card anymore. I haven't had a credit card in 10 years because of this. But I had already done the damage to myself back when I was younger. And so I'm just paying for it literally and technically, both metaphorically and technically. I'm just paying for it now. And that's something that a lot of people I don't think understand truly and fully, is don't get a credit card. Don't have a line of credit. Nothing like that. Now, there are some caveats. Obviously, in order to make major purchases, cars, houses, different things here and there, a lot of people do require that you have a good credit score. But, and credit card companies have, over the years, set it up where one of the best ways to build your credit is to have a credit card and then pay it off. But it's when you're young, which is the target audience for credit card companies, is you think, oh, I have years to pay it off. As long as I have a job, I have a job. This is how much I make. Totally fine. Nobody budgets their lives accurately, and so when they think they have a certain amount of money, they actually don't. Don't worry, I'll apply all this to voiceover and voiceover career, which it's going to be blatantly obvious, but I'll get to that in a second. And then there's, you think that you're going to have the job forever. You think that you're never going to get fired. Nothing ever bad's going to happen. You're always going to be able to work this, that, and the other. But when you're young, you don't understand that things change. For example, I got fired which is why I went hard into voiceover and stand-up comedy. I eventually, backed away from stand-up comedy for various reasons. But at first, my voiceover was really just a paid hobby. I didn't really dedicate that much time to it. But after I had gotten fired, I had to go into voiceover hard. And that really was kind of one of the points in which my life both went in a good direction, but also a lot of negative came with it. One of which was the fact that I didn't have a reliable and calculable source of income. What I mean by that is it's very hard. I can only base off what my entire year's earning is from last year, and then, estimate what I'm going to be making, for the following year. I don't have a paycheck that I can accurately assess and accurately like, oh, I'm definitely going to get this minimum every single month or every single week or whatever, however you get paid. I don't have that. So me planning for the future is very, very hard. Also, me paying people off is very, very hard because doing voiceover, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have lulls. You're going to have peaks and valleys when it comes to months that you're very, very busy and you're making a lot of money, and then months that you're not. For me, it is I make a lot more at the beginning of the year and a lot more at the end of the year, but in the middle, it dips down. Normally hits its lowest point in April. Now, since I've seen that happen multiple years in a row, I can prepare myself for that. But it's very, very hard to save up and be prepared for those months. First of all, the length of time and when it starts and when it ends, that lull, is unpredictable. It's impossible for me to really, truly, accurately know when it's going to start, when it's going to end, and how bad it's going to be. It's not a huge deal. If I didn't have all the stuff that I have to pay for from back when I made huge mistakes when I was younger, life would be actually pretty good. It'd be pretty stable, pretty consistent, pretty even. It's really just that kind of stuff that I now am having to deal with, which I'm like more than halfway through paying off all that and dealing with it, making good progress. It's just rough. It's just stressful. I just wish I could get rid of it all now and then save up more for projects that I want to do. There's a lot of money that goes into paying all this off and trying to build stability and build back up that safety net that I didn't really have. Fortunately, I have a roommate, my brother, who has a paycheck, who has a steady job. And he makes a certain amount. He works every single week. He gets overtime, all this kind of stuff. He works very, very hard. So no matter how horrible life is to me during the year, sometimes, we do have that safety net. We are, we know that that's going to be, keeping us afloat. So I'm fortunate. Sorry. I'm fortunate enough to have that. But not everybody does. A lot of voice actors that I know are, in relationships. They're married. They're living with somebody. And they do have that. But not everybody does, especially not the young people going into voiceover. They often don't have that kind of stability. They don't have that kind of assurance. They don't have any of that. And this is also one of the reasons that I kind of focused on trying to find the right audio gear to review. The kind of gear that would be inexpensive, yet at the same time still functional and still work very, very well and still be able to make you money. There's a lot of people who just review stuff and, regardless of how cheap or good it is, and they'll basically say the same stuff. And some people that don't give you an honest, accurate review because the people who've given them the product give them very strict guidelines on what they can and cannot say. I've had tons of people want to give me stuff to review, and I've given them, I will not lie, I will not make it up, you do not get to view the video ahead of time. And there's been a lot of people just walk away from that. And the reason is because I want you guys to have my opinion on gear that is inexpensive that will still work, which is why I go very, very hard on stuff that I don't think is going to be good for you. There's a couple reasons. Number one, I don't want you to spend more than you need to. But yet at the same time, I don't want you to spend money that's going to be a waste. I don't want you to buy a product that's going to break on you or buy a product that's not going to give you the audio quality or the quality in general that you need in order to build a steady income. That's why I review the way I review. That's why there's been a lot of products, even if they're okay, I go hard on. Because I don't want people to have the idea that, oh, I can do Cartoon Network stuff with this, which is the opinion that some people have had on some cheap products after someone has just given it a glowing review. I don't want to do that. Because I want you to find a product that you can afford without a line of credit and then be able to use and make money without it doing any kind of financial damage to you now or later. I don't want you to buy a product like a microphone that's really, really cheap and then end up, thinking that it's working for you because, when you're first starting out, you don't have the ear for quality. You don't have the ear for the technicalities and the ins and outs and the nuance, especially if you don't have expensive headphones and, an expensive preamp and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to know exactly what it is that the client is listening to. And so you don't know if you're wasting your time sending out auditions that the audio quality is just so poor, they're just passing you. Even if your acting is good, they may just be passing you. And that's going to be wasting your time and wasting you money. And then you're going to have to, once you do finally figure it out, whether it's going to a coach, whether it's, just finding some voice actor who's willing to give you an honest opinion, then you're going to have to replace it. Now you've spent more money than you actually need. So overall, the advice of today's video leads heavily on money and being prepared. Number one, don't get a line of credit. Try to avoid those at all possible. It's much better to, I think it's like a credit union or something like that. That's kind of like a bank, but doesn't work like a credit card. I don't know. Find some better financial advice on this kind of stuff, but overall, avoid having a line of credit. And if you do, for whatever reason, get a line of credit, pay it off immediately. Only buy stuff with it when you know exactly when you're going to be able to pay it off. Exactly. If you don't know exactly when you're going to be able to pay it off, don't buy anything. Okay? Again, this is coming from me. I made that mistake. I was like, I'm going to buy stuff that I know I'm going to need for work, need for business. I'm going to definitely make some money back off that. And it turned out that I didn't end up having that kind of security later on. And it was a huge mistake. And it's coming back and it's haunting me. Number two, don't buy stuff that you don't need. You can make do with stuff, but then at the same time, do not buy the cheapest stuff you can find. There is a Goldilocks zone for first-time voice actors, for amateur voice actors. There's a Goldilocks zone. And that Goldilocks zone is actually increasing. There's a lot more stuff that's falling in that window, in that pocket. And that's the good news. There's a lot more companies that are, especially when it comes to USB mics, there's a lot more companies that are making high-quality USB mics that are, basically a mixer and a microphone or a preamp and a microphone all wrapped in one. And that's getting easier and easier to afford high quality. So that's the good news. The bad news is you still have to do a lot of searching. There's thousands of companies out there, and you do not want to be wasting your money. And then when it comes to demos, my advice is your first demos you need to make. Because your first market, the first people that you're going to be approaching for work, for voiceover work, is not going to be major studios. It's not going to be dubbing companies. It's not going to be anything major. It's always going to be smaller, independent companies, independent game creators that release stuff just on Steam or what have you. People that make really short cartoons or parodies on YouTube. That's going to be your first starting market. And their standards are going to be relatively low. And that's actually going to be good for you because that's going to be a place that you can practice and get some work in and flex and get some experience. And then once you start getting to a point where you are making money, then you can actually go save up that money, find yourself a coach, find out what the rates are for producing your demo. When you're finally ready to approach major studios and audition for bigger stuff, then save up that money until you have what you need to pay for the demo. That is my advice for you. And then also make sure you're saving up money so that you can buy better equipment, better gear, better treatment. Definitely treatment first. But try to save up the money. This is one of the reasons why keep your day job is such a repeated statement over and over and over again. It's not an insult. There's a lot of people that think keep your day job is an insult. It's not. It can be used as a keep your day job. I think the statement stick to your day job is more an insult than keep your day job. That's what I try to say. I try to say keep your day job because keeping your day job doesn't mean that you can't still be pursuing the things that you love. You can't still be pursuing your art, your craft. But you need that day job so that you can afford these things. You need that day job so you have the security. You need that day job so you can have the gear and the equipment and the treatment that you need. You need that day job so that you can pay for demos, pay for coaching, all this kind of stuff. It isn't until this ball gets rolling and pays for itself that you will ever really be able to, get rid of your day job. Technically, I should still have some kind of day job. I know tons of voice actors who have done major production stuff, but still have a day job on some level. Now, day job doesn't mean flipping burgers. It doesn't mean any of that. Day job can also be, working at a radio station, being a DJ, being a stand-up comedian, being an actor. You have to have something that is more profitable and more guaranteed profitable than the thing that you're currently doing. The thing that you want to do the most has to be funded and has to be supported by the stuff that you hate. It has to be. So, know everything that you need to know about taxes. Know everything that you need to know about taxes. Look hard into the business. And if you can't, find someone who does. Find someone who does. I have some people who I do my taxes with who have been doing this for a long time. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I can kind of take this on myself. We're still going back and forth of whether or not I need to do quarterly or need to do yearly. So far, it looks like I still need to do yearly. Quarterly doesn't really look like it's going to benefit me. But regardless, know everything that you can about taxes, about especially being a freelance artist in taxes. Save up money. Make sure you save up a lot of money. I would definitely recommend stocks once you can. Stocks is a way of having money that's basically being saved that, if you're smart about it, could actually be earning you more than it would in interest in savings. Also, it's less taxable, meaning the government's not just going to take it from you. If it's just in savings and you just have it in there, then you're just going to get taxed out the ass over it. So, taxes, learn about it. Stocks, good idea. Save up money in whatever way that you can so that you have that kind of backup. Make sure you have a day job and some kind of steady income. Don't waste your money on products, on coaching, until you can actually afford that kind of stuff. Make sure that you can afford it. And then lastly, and this is the thing we started with, no credit. There you go. This is kind of a voiceover video, but I think this one actually is far more helpful than a lot of the ones I've been posting lately. This one, that's what I'm going through. And if you're anything like me and you're in a kind of a rut or life is just taking you behind the woodshed, this is probably some really good advice, especially the young people. So don't make my mistakes. And it's going to be it. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new. Bell for notifications. And leave down in the comment section below. Like to see me cover any other topics. I'm trying to get to some fun stuff in a little bit, but that's kind of what I'm dealing with. And it's going to be it. And until next time, peace.